What's up? It's your host, James Hill, and you're listening to the Advantyx Show, the podcast for people who want more out of life, business, and themselves. Each episode, we break down mindset, strategy, and practical moves that give you an advantage so you can make progress, win more, and build the life you're after. No fluff, no excuses, just practical talk that helps you level up every single day. So let's get it. You're not exhausted in the usual way. You're heavy. It feels like every step forward means pushing through some kind of invisible sludge. The goals you were once so fired up about, the business you wanted to start, the book you wanted to write, or the person you were striving to become, now they feel like they belong to someone else in another lifetime. And in those quiet moments, a familiar nagging voice whispers, "What is wrong with me? Why can't I just do the things I know I want to do?" What if I told you that feeling isn't laziness? That it's not a character flaw or a lack of discipline? What if it's a hidden tripwire in your brain? A silent habit designed to do one thing: keep you safe and keep you stuck. This isn't just about putting things off. It's about a psychological trap of inaction that keeps you comfortable, safe, and ultimately filled with regret. Today, we're going to expose that trap. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how to start rewiring your brain for action automatically. The invisible wall of inaction. We've all felt it. It's that magnetic pull of the familiar, the weird comfort of the couch when you know you should be at the gym. It's the blinking cursor on a blank page, the business plan that you never leaves the notebook, the important phone call that you'll make tomorrow. From the outside, it looks like laziness. You might even call it that yourself, but it's deeper than that. It's a state of paralysis where your desire to act and your inability to begin are locked in a frustrating stalemate. It's like having one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. The engine is roaring, but guess what? The car is just shaking, going nowhere. Of course, you feel annoyed with yourself, disconnected from your own ambitions, and totally overwhelmed when you even think about trying to change. This isn't just about avoiding the big, scary projects. It can show up with tiny, everyday tasks, like sending an email or making a doctor's appointment. The task itself isn't the real problem. The problem is the invisible wall you hit when you try to start. You want to move, you intend to move, but your body and your mind just won't cooperate. It's a feeling of being frozen, and it's one of the most maddening human experiences. For a long time, we've called this a time management problem. But a growing consensus among psychologists is that procrastination is actually an emotional regulation. You're not avoiding the task. You're avoiding the feeling the task brings up, whether it's boredom, frustration, or anxiety, or self-doubt. Think of it like avoiding a hot stove. You aren't afraid of the stove itself. You're avoiding the feeling of getting burned. This avoidance, this habit of inaction, is silently killing more dreams than any external obstacle ever could. The science of self-sabotage. Your brain's misguided guardian. So, why does this happen? Why do our own minds get in the way of our deepest desires? The answer is buried deep in our brain's architecture. It's a conflict between two powerful forces. Think of it like a company run by two very different leaders. An ancient, anxious bodyguard and a modern, rational CEO. Your brain's number one job above everything else is to keep you alive. This is the job of your bodyguard, the emotional reactive part of your brain called the limbic system. It runs on a simple ancient principle. What's familiar is safe, and what's unfamiliar is a potential threat. The CEO Your modern, rational, prefrontal cortex is the one with the vision and the goals. The problem is, the bodyguard is much older and faster. It has a smoke detector for threats called the amygdala. And we all know its response: fight or flight. But there's a third response that often gets overlooked: freeze. When a threat feels overwhelming, the nervous system can hit the emergency brakes. It's like a computer that gets too many commands and just crashes, leaving you with a blank screen. Your energy plummets, your mind goes blank, and you feel physically unable to act. This isn't a conscious choice. It's a physiological shutdown designed to protect you. But here's the crazy part. Your ancient bodyguard can't tell the difference between the threat of a predator and the threat of looking foolish, failing at a new business, or being rejected. To it, the uncertainty of putting yourself out there, it feels like a real danger. Some studies suggest a larger amygdala can make this worse, like having a smoke detector that's so sensitive it goes off every time you make toast. It's a biological red alert, and your inaction is the result. This gets even worse with something called learned helplessness. If you face setbacks in the past, your brain starts to expect failure. It's like a computer program that has encountered so many errors trying to run a command that it eventually stops trying altogether, assuming it will just fail again. This isn't weakness. It's your brain's misguided protective reaction to past adversity. The turning point: inaction as neuroprotection. This is the most important thing you will hear today. That feeling of being stuck, that paralysis, that silent habit of inaction, it is not a personal failure. Let's reframe it as a form of what we call neuroprotection. Let that sink in. You are not lazy, broken, or unmotivated. Your brain is simply trying to protect you. It's that overzealous bodyguard running an ancient survival program that treats uncertainty and potential failure like a genuine danger. Your inaction is just a symptom of a nervous system trying to keep you safe inside your comfort zone, where everything is predictable and known. This single reframe changes everything. For years, you've probably been trying to fight this part of yourself, criticizing it, shaming it, and trying to crush it with sheer willpower. But you can't win a war against your own biology. It's like trying to push a river uphill. The issue was never your character. It was your strategy. The moment you stop seeing inaction as a flaw and start seeing it as a misguided attempt at protection, you can stop fighting yourself and start working with your brain. You can thank your inner bodyguard for trying to keep you safe, and then gently teach it that taking action is no longer a threat. This is the turning point. This is where you stop pushing the river and instead learn to carve out a new channel for it to flow through. This is where you take your power back. Here's a call to action. If this idea that you're not lazy, but your brain is just being overprotective is clicking for you, take a second to hit that like button. It's a small signal to me that this message is landing, and it tells the algorithm that more people need to hear that they are not broken. The solution: how to rewire your brain for action. So, how do we actually do this? How do we update our brain's outdated survival software? Not with brute force, but with small strategic steps that sneak past the brain's alarm system, like it's a spy slipping under the laser beams. The science of neuroplasticity shows that our brains can change and adapt at any age. By repeating new behaviors, we can literally build new neural pathways for action. Here's your 4-part toolkit for breaking the cycle of inaction. Strategy 1. Obey the law of behavioral activation. For decades, we've had it backwards, believing that motivation comes first, and then actions follow. The science of behavioral activation proves the exact opposite is true. Action creates motivation. Think of it like push starting a car. The initial effort of pushing feels hard and pointless, but that action is what's needed to turn the engine over. Once the engine roars to life, it generates its own power. Emotions follow behavior. So, the first rule is to stop waiting for the mood to strike and just start pushing. Strategy 2. Use the 2-minute microstep. The biggest barrier to starting is that we stare at the whole mountain instead of the first step. The 2-minute rule demolishes this barrier. Whatever your goal is, break it down into a version of it that takes less than 2 minutes to do. You want to write a book? Open a document, and guess what? Write 1 sentence. You want to start working out? Put on your gym clothes. You want to meditate? Sit down and focus on your breath for just 120 seconds. The goal here isn't to finish the task. It's to make starting so ridiculously easy that your brain's inner bodyguard doesn't even see it as a threat. Anyone can do something for 2 minutes. This tiny action bypasses the fear response and begins to build a new neural pathway that says, see, the action is safe. Strategy 3. Design your environment for action. Your willpower is a finite resource, so stop wasting it. Instead, become the architect of your environment. Think of your daily life as a river. The most effective people don't fight the current. They strategically build channels to guide the water where they want it to go. Make your desired habits obvious and easy. If you want to exercise in the morning, lay out your workout clothes. If you want to eat healthier, try putting fruit on the counter. Conversely, make your avoidance habits difficult by damming up the channel. If you waste time on your phone, try deleting that distracting app, or just put your phone in another room. By adding or removing friction, you make it easier for your brain to choose the right path without having to fight itself. And strategy 4, reward the start, not just the finish. Your brain is wired to repeat action that lead to an immediate reward. The problem with big goals is that the reward is often months or years away. We need to hack this system. It's like training a puppy. You don't wait until it perfectly performs a 20-step trick to give it a treat. You reward it for the first small step, like just sitting down. Instead of only rewarding yourself when you finish a massive project, give yourself an immediate reward for simply getting started. Did you do your 2 minutes of work? Awesome. Let yourself enjoy a cup of coffee and listen to a favorite song. By linking the act of starting with a positive feeling, you begin to rewire the habit loop. You're teaching your brain to crave the act of starting, not to fear it. In conclusion, for too long, you might have believed that your inability to act was a fundamental flaw in your character. Today, you know the truth. That silent habit of inaction wasn't laziness. It was a protective mechanism, your brain's ancient bodyguard trying to keep you safe. But you are no longer at its mercy. You now have the understanding and the tools to work with your brain, not against it. You know that acting sparks motivation, like push starting a car. You know that by taking comically small steps, designing your environment, and rewarding the start, you can systematically dismantle the invisible wall that has been holding you back. You have the power to rewire your brain. Every time you choose a 2-minute action over passive avoidance, you're carving a new neural path. It's like making a trail in a dense forest. The first time is hard, but each trip makes the path clearer and easier to travel until it becomes the default route. So here's my final challenge to you. Right now, as this ends, don't just think about what you've learned. Do something. Identify the absolute smallest, most laughable tiny first step for one of your goals. and do it. Open that book. Put one dish in the dishwasher. Write the first sentence of that email. Take one small step and prove to your brain that action is safe. Your dream is waiting for you to begin. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the Advantyx Show.